You're going deeper into your cave. And you're going to find your power animal.
Slide.
Hey Sean, tell your wife I got the bubble wrap. It's the same address, right? I'll get it out tomorrow. Well, hey y'all, Man Mountain Lake here. We just went to Old Horror Freight and picked us up a dual drum rotary rock tumbler for 60 bucks. And of course we had to buy the upgrade kit to make it from a light duty to a medium duty. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, this document is available online as a high-resolution color PDF, and here's the link on the screen. You have to copy it down. I'll also put it in the description if I remember. But let's go over the tools and supplies required. Now, how-to videos aren't my specialty, so bear with me. Let's see, here we got standard screwdriver, standard number 2 Phillips, a stubby number 2 Phillips. We got a POS drill. We got some 1/8 inch drill bits. Got a pair of snap ring pliers. We got various tapes. It wasn't very specific. We got some sandpaper. This is representative sandpaper. I won't be using disc sandpaper. And we also have a razor knife, which wasn't on the list of required objects, but I got to get into the box, so let's go ahead and do that. Well, honestly, before I do open the box, let's see what's in the kit here. Now, this is the instruction manual from my previous rock tumbler, which is identical, and it came with 5 belts. And I noticed that the replacement kit, the upgrade kit, also comes with a belt, and one assumes that there is also 5 belts in here, so a plethora of belts. For those who are wondering, I have yet to need a belt on my old rock tumbler, which is way down there, and it has been through the war, son. So I don't see all these copious amounts of belts as truly necessary, but regardless, here they are. And here's what's in the package. Let's get this open real quick. Should have prepared. Had to cut the end off the bag. Alright, we got a belt, as I mentioned previously. We got a little bit of oil. About 1 ounce there, I guess. Something settled in the bottom of it. That's awesome. You always want your oil with unknown solids at the bottom. Anywho, Charles, you may like this. This looks 3D printed to me. It's got those lines on it. And then we got some 3D printed bushing holders and, well, some of the smallest ball bearings I've ever seen in my life. Look how narrow those are. What gets me is that they're sealed bearings. You see that blue race in the center? Well, actually, the center, anyway, the blue part. You see the blue part? That's an oil shield that keeps the oil inside the bearing. And one of the last instructions in the book is oil the bearings, even without oil. But they're sealed bearings. So, anyway, all the parts appear to be there. We got some screws and some, looks like thrust washers. Hopefully this isn't too complicated because I'm not very smart. Alright, let's open this up now. Okay, there it is. Proceed with the disassembly. First thing they say, remove that. So let's take that off. lift the whole thing off as a unit. There's several plates here. Find somewhere to put it so I can lose all the parts. Alright, step 2. Remove the bottom motor cover by removing the 2 rubber feet and 2 Phillips screws. Set aside. Okay. Probably what I'm supposed to be using a Phillips screwdriver for, right? We got a magnet here. We'll just put all the screws. Step 3, remove the shaft covers by removing the 4 Phillips screws. Set aside. These screws will be reused later. Alright, does that mean that the ones on the bottom won't be? And the top, they won't be because these will be? Probably not. Alright, so remove that. Come back here. Got it. Okay. Remove drive belt. Set aside. You better keep up with it. It's not like they got any extras. Ta-da. Okay. On step 5, moving right along, remove the 4 motor mounting screws. Showing this end right here. Those screws right there. One would assume that the motor would fall out when you did that. Double square nuts and motor mounting blocks should now be loose. Retrieve these and set aside. Well, good Lord. Gotta take this all the way back down to the factory, I reckon. I came loose in there. How am I going to get my fat fingers in there and put that back together? That's a good question. Well, ain't that awesome? All kinds of parts. Got these 2 plastic blocks. Then we got the square nuts, they call them. And we got all this and all that. Oh, goodness. Try not to break the blades. Okay. Step 7, the motor should now be loose, I'd say. Gently pull it out, and there is no need to completely disconnect the motor. Just move it out of the way while leaving it attached. move it out of the way while leaving it attached. Yeah, I guess so. I have to cut that wire nut if I was to take it all the way out. I'd like to point out the grounding wire is not attached to a goddamn thing. Excuse my language. Alright, let's move it out of the way. Okay, now what? Guess what? Remove that pulley I was just messing with. Take the pulley off. Remove the drive pulley by loosening one Phillips screw, then slide the pulley off the end of the shaft and set aside. You better have plenty of put aside to set all this stuff aside. That's all I got to say. What I decided to do is going to tighten that one up. Okay. Got a C-clip on that and a washer. We have set that aside. Remove the 4 snap rings, one from each end of the shaft. Note, do not overexpand the snap rings when removing them. Spread them open just enough to slip them off the end of the shaft and set aside. So sending them flying across the end of the room is not an option. We do not have replacements. 4 snap rings, one from each end. Well, that's going to be tricky. It's going to be very tricky. Right there. Alright, let's start with the easy ones. Got these cheap snap ring pliers and the same sources to, there we go, got that one. Same sources to store. Same, whoa! Well, that bushing just took off at a mile a minute, I tell you what. Yeah, set them on external. Got the external straight nose head on this snap ring plier set. I need better glasses, I'll tell you what. Alright, there we go. Got that one off. Got that bushing out. Got cats in here. Now I got something to say. Move this back around. I'm trying to see if I have to switch the heads on these. They come with some bent nose heads, and I may probably should use the right tool for the job, but got that one. Take that shaft out. Got that bushing out. Got that snap ring off, the circlip as they call it. Got the washer. Got the shaft, and we dropped the bushing, and it's right here, and we're basically down to a bare frame now. All we got these 2 little things and a motor left in there. Alright, what in the world could be next? Step 10. Remove the 4 black where we did that and discard them. then remove the roller shafts. I don't think we're going to go so far as discard stuff. You discard stuff, you might need it later on for a different project. So best to get you a doodad box, market bushings, and put them in there. Okay, enlarge the 4 screw holes with an 8-inch drill bit. Here's my 1/8 drill bits, such as they are. And this is the drill guide, that yellow piece, whatever I do with it. Like you need a drill guide. Yeah, this is, this is kind of the stuff you make up so you can justify charging 20 bucks, whatever. Enlarge these 4 holes here, right? Those, enlarge them, make them bigger. And you can use your handy dandy drill guide to do that. So we're going to locate that and we'll be right back at you. Alright, y'all see that? I mean, I didn't see it well, but we got the little plastic guide on. We measured our drill bit, 1/8 inch, and we read the directions 3 or 4 times. It says remove the 4 bushings, enlarge the screw holes with an 1/8 inch drill bit. And you put the guide on there, and that's the guide, and this is a drill bit. And I haven't drilled a damn thing, you understand? Excuse me with the camera work, but try and do this through the camera lens. Just fits right in there. See? So I'm not sure, but that we already have 1/8 inch holes. So we're going to proceed to step 13. Insert the drill guide into the inner tumbler frame. Ensure the holes to be drilled are linely and secure with tape. Now that's going to be more problematic, getting a drill down in there. Like that. And then drill some holes in it with that drill. And I don't know, man. Even with that short little drill bit I got. Let me ponder upon this a bit and we'll be back at you. Hey y'all, I got it chucked way up in there and I think it just might work. Barely, but I'm not going to be able to film it and do it at the same time. I'm not going to be able to put it way over there in the center of the table so that the camera can film it when it's on its perch, you understand? I need to have it right here with me. So we're going to do this real quick and wish me luck, cross your heart, do something. Okay, after a mere 2 drill bits, we are through in all 4 places. Had a cloth there to catch the shavings because the motor is still there. Well, hey y'all, and welcome back. Although I guess you haven't actually been going anywhere. But I believe we was on step 13. Insert the drill guide into the inner tumbler frame and ensure the holes to be drilled are aligned as shown. Secured temporarily with tape. We did that and we drilled the holes. Let's see, 14, double check the holes to be drilled are in alignment with the existing screw holes on the outer end of frame. I did not do that, but luckily enough they are. Drill the 4 holes with an 1/8" drill bit. Ensure your bit is sharp and press firmly to ensure the bit doesn't wander laterally before drilling, which is a pleasant thing to say, but the guide is made out of plastic. Alright, so it wandered just a bit right there. And we'll see if that makes a difficulty later on, but I tried to do it best I could, man. 16. The hard part is done. I'm glad you think so. You ain't got to put this rat's nest back together. Remove the drill guide and prepare for assembly. Did that. Locate the 4 round bearing blocks and bearings which came with your kit. That's them right there. Check the fit of the roller shaft and the bearings. Occasionally a roller shaft can fit too tightly due to a manufacturer's burr on the shaft, etc. If necessary, chuck the shaft into your drill and spin it while buffering the bearing end with some fine sandpaper or a sanding sponge. They have a very nice Makita drill to do that with. We're in luck. All ours fit perfectly. No sanding required. Okay. Now we are on 19. Notice the difference in the 2 shafts. Well, one of them is longer than the other because it has the pulley on the end of it. The other one's just rides in place. Okay, we did that. We note the difference. Slide side bearing blocks onto shafts before putting shafts. Okay, that should be slide. It says side, S-I-D-E. It should be S-L-I-D-E. Slide them onto the shafts before putting them in the frame. We did that. Orient the bearing blocks as shown with the larger bearing openings towards the shaft end. This will prevent the bearings from coming out after installation. See how they say put them in there? Just like that. And one just fell off. But that end goes to the working side. Alright, and then it says put them in the frame. It says put the flat end where the pulley goes, Okay. Which. There goes on that side. That's what I was thinking. I think you'd put the motor back in first, but we're on 22. Alright, 22 says locate the 4 screws that originally held the shaft cover in place and use them to secure the bearings. Bearing block at one end of the frame as shown in the picture. Do not over tighten because it's printed plastic, so you strip it out, you better find some WD-40 or JB weld. Alright, and then it says locate the 4 screws and do the same to locate the 4 screws that came with it and do the same to the other side, that other side being the motor side. Alright, and then locate the 4 washers and spacers in this little bag that came with your kit. I see 6 spacers in there. And it says locate the 4 that came with your kit. So I located 6. Okay, 25. We're going to read through these real quick. I want to see where the motor installation comes into play. Alright, place a washer and spacer and put the snap rings on. Seems like you could do that first and that would help with the locating of the bearings, because the shaft's going to slide in and out while you're fiddling around trying to put the bearing blocks in. Place one washer spacer on the other end of the shaft and secure with the original snap rings. Reinstall the pulley. Align the screw with the flat end of the shaft and tighten securely. Okay, so we're going to go back and we want to start putting this together. I don't have to take the hands out. We're off, gentlemen. Okay, with all the circlips installed, now I will install the bearing blocks. Man. Well, I tell you what, it's an 1/8 inch screw and an 1/8 inch hole. So if you're doing this, you might want to go slightly oversized. Yeah, the next half hour is going to be me fiddling trying to get those screws in and get that flush because it's cutting threads through the metal as it goes. So it doesn't want to pull up snug. If it wasn't cutting threads in the metal, then it could pull up snug with the plastic. But it's not because they aren't. So I may have to take this all the way back apart and wallow out those holes. I don't know if that's the technical term or not, but that's what we call it. But either way, I'm going to be messing with this for the next little while. I'm sure you don't want to watch it even on fast forward. So we will be back at you when this is done. Hello, everybody. Hit a bit of a roadblock. Now, if you remember way back in step whatever, they said set these screws aside that came off this cap that we was going to reuse these. Alright, you notice these are machine screws. They got the flat end on them. Alright, the screws they sent to use on the other side are self-cutting threads, right? So when you put those screws in there, they do not cut into this plastic block. They do not make their own threads. And yeah, it ain't working. So I'm going to have to find some more screws. And this part has threads cut in it. This red piece, the frame. And remember the 1/8 inch drill bit fit through it. But I may have to drill out those holes. And I'm going to have to find some more screws. And that's why you keep a doodad box full of screws. So you have parts when you need them. So that's what we're going to do, is find some parts that'll work with this machine. I ended up having to put one screw in this way. And I was able to do that because that 16th of an inch hole. You know, cut my own thread. So I swear they want you to put it in this way, and there's no room with that switch there. There's no room, really, there isn't. So you'd either have to take all that out, or do it the way I did it, or find a little nut and bolt and go through it that way. Either way, it's fastened. I don't even want to tell about how long it took, but it really stretched my patience, I'll tell you that.
As you walk, you feel the healing energy of this place all around you. Now find your power animal. Slide.
Okay, we installed the 4 screws from the kit, and we found out the original 4 screws would not work, and replaced them with some more pointy screws that did work. And we're moving on. Now 24 says locate the washers and then install the snap rings, and I did that before I installed the bearing blocks, and it helped immensely to keep these from sliding in and out of the holes, because every time you move it, it's going to slide out if you don't have them in it. So why it says wait till after you install the bearing blocks to do that, I don't know, but I did it my way. Now it says install the pulley, so we're going to do that. And I was wrong about that ground wire. There is actually a place for it. I read through the instructions. It actually bolts up with one of these mounting bolts. Flush with the end of the shaft. Well, let's get it snugged up a little bit. Okie dokie. That was 27. That's 28. Begin motor reinstallation by placing the aluminum tensioner on the back of the tumbler frame and insert the 4 screws with lock washers and flat washers. Bobby's been helping me keep track of stuff, so it may take me a minute to come up with stuff. He is a helpful cat. That's that. See what they got to say about this here. Place the motor back inside the frame. Route the screws through the motor. Why the hell did you put the screws in and then put the motor when the screws gotta go through the motor and the motor mounts? Alright, well, let's take the screws back out then. But basically, goes through the motor, and you got the little, what they call a square nut, and you gotta make sure that the little plastic blocks, they're in there, and that the ground wire gets reinstalled. So that's 28 through 30. I'm going to try to do that. We got it in there. Not a lot of slack on that green wire. I can't see moving it much more than it is. Of course, it seems to be pegged out, but this moves. So anyway, it's on there loosely, but it's on there. The motor's back in loosely. We got to be running out of stuff to do. I missed the part where it said put the belt on it. Begin motor reinstallation by placing the aluminum tensioner on the end of the tumbler frame. Insert 4 screws of lock washers and flat washers. Place the motor back inside the frame. Route the screws through the motor mounts through the motor and tighten on the double square nuts. On the bottom of the frame, secure the green ground wire to one of the bottom motor mounting screws behind the square nut. Did all that. Notice this is the last page. Reinstall the bottom motor cover with 4 rubber feet, and the original 4 screws do not over tighten as they will compress and distort under too much pressure. Reinstall the top motor cover with the 4 original screws. Adjust the drum barrel guides to keep the drum centered. Place 1 drop of oil on each bearing prior to using and before starting the new batch going forward. Your upgraded tumbler is now ready to use, except you never installed the belt. So we're going to do that. Okay. Now we're going to tension the motor and tighten up the mounting screws. Alright, now we're going to put the bottom on, assuming I can find all those bits and pieces. How confident are we in this? I don't know. Think it don't work? You think it don't work any better than the old one? That's pretty quiet. That's pretty quiet. I can't say I'm terribly unhappy. Appears to be doing the job. Took a little bit longer than I wanted it to take, but at the end of the day, the job's done. The kit worked. Who am I to complain? Alright, this will conclude this world's worst how-to video. Man Mountain Link over and out. See you next time. One last word. The kit doesn't say anything about reinstalling these. In fact, it specifically says don't. But I did, and would wish I'd done it on this side because, you know, my cat could rub up against that and he's going to have a bald spot. That circlet's going to grab something. And it's just, it doesn't need to be done. It comes with these. Just put them back on. It'll fit. The screws are long enough. And that's my last word on this. Appreciate you taking the time to watch it, and see you on the next video.